So good afternoon, everyone. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all, students, parents, family, friends, and fans in the back. My name is Nadia Ali. I'm the director of the Center for Middle East Studies here at Brown University. I'm in this role for my third year, my fourth year at Brown. I joined 4 years ago from London. And this is only my second time I'm actually experiencing commencement in a US university because of COVID. And I have to say, it's just so wonderful to be able to celebrate this with all of you. I think that's certainly for myself one of the side effects of COVID, that I don't take these kinds of gatherings for granted anymore. So I would like to just say a few words about the center. So Middle East Studies is a concentration at Brown, but the Center for Middle East Studies is so much more than a concentration. I mean, we are trying to create community. It's interdisciplinary, so we have people working across history, literature. Myself, I'm an anthropologist. We have people in politics, art history, cultural studies, and so on. The Center for Middle East Studies is housed within the Watson Institute for Public Affairs and International Studies. And currently we have 17 concentrators. But this year we had over 1,000 students being enrolled in over 80 courses with a Middle East focus. So that's quite a bit. And you see there we have quite a large number of faculty who are contributing to Middle East studies through their teaching and their research at Brown. And I think what makes Middle East studies at Brown special, and this is one reason why I actually decided to come all the way from London, from the School of Oriental and African Studies, is that it is really grounded in the complex empirical realities and imaginations of the Middle East and its diaspora. So I'm saying that because I think lots of what is happening when I look around at other universities is to study the Middle East and other regions of the world through the lens of the US. And that's not what you do here at Brown. I mean, obviously, we are conscious of being positioned here within the US, but we are interested in the Middle East and its diasporas for itself and not for US interests. Maybe one comment about terms here. I mean, I'm still using the term Middle East, and I mean larger Middle East, including North Africa. Lots of people now have moved away from that and speak about SWANA, Southwest Asia and North Africa. Personally, I'm not doing that. I'm agnostic, and I'm very happy to have some conversations with the students about it, because I feel although SWANA is supposed to be a term that challenges the imposed term Middle East, I think it's actually something that's, again, generated within Western context and not something that people in the region are interested in. But I think it's really sort of doing Middle East studies these days. It's not just about the Middle East, it's really about rethinking the world and rethinking the kinds of categorizations that we did previously in terms of the West and the Middle East. Given that societies everywhere are extremely polarized, I think we have to challenge this. And I think our graduates, whatever they have studied, whatever field they are specialized in, are really well placed to engage in these larger discussions. And I think it's also really important that the idea of social justice and equality is very much at the heart of what we do. So at this point, I just really want to say I'm very impressed. I mean, I know some of you better than others. I've listened to your presentations, and I'm very proud of you. I would also like to mention that some of you have been involved in the Brown Undergraduate Journal of Middle East Studies, and that's really amazing. I recently looked at a print copy before the dean snapped it away from my hands, so I don't actually have a copy now, but I was so proud to see it. And also, of course, also the virtual online version is great, but it was so nice to see it. So thanks so much. And I'd like to thank all of you, because you know that any degree. Of course, the students did the work, we try to support them, but it's really also family and friends who are very central to this whole process. And I think that's, again, something that we learned maybe more so during COVID, the importance of family. So what I'd like to do now is to first thank Barbara Oberkötter, who is our center manager, and we wouldn't be here, and the degrees wouldn't run so smoothly if it wasn't for Barbara. So a big round of applause. And of course, my biggest thanks to Professor Alex Winder, who's of course Director of Undergraduate Studies and who knows you all much, much better than I do. And I'm really grateful. And I'm going to hand over to him now, who is going to introduce you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nadia, and thank you, Barbara, and thank you to everyone who's joining us here. Thank you for coming. Those who are watching online, good afternoon and welcome also. I'm going to just say a few words and then we'll convey the degrees upon our graduates. Without further ado, we're not super formal here at Middle East Studies, so no need to be stuffy. But before I introduce them one by one, and also when I read their names, I'll also be reading the names of some students who are either double concentrators or who graduated last winter, so who aren't in the room with us today, but also offering congratulations to them. But when I read the names of those students who are here with us, they'll come up and receive their degree from Nadia. And then we'll have the opportunity to take photos with family and friends for each of our graduates. So that is how we're going to do things, I guess. I just want to kind of say a few words and echo what Nadia said, really that I think this graduating class was one that was really impacted by the effects of COVID. I think it was really difficult, I think, to arrive at Brown and all of a sudden kind of feel like everything was in no way kind of how any of us expected it to be. Having to, move to 3 semesters to take classes online is not easy. And so I really want to kind of, again, congratulate you and say how proud all of us are. It's really impressive how you've kind of stuck through all these difficulties and emerged on the other side of it in ways that are kind of pretty impressive, really impressive, actually. So before I start crying, I'll start reading the names and bios of our graduates. So our first graduate is Jaylem Abu Noaj, who graduated in December. Jaylem is a recent graduate with concentrations in Middle East Studies and Public Policy. Within the department, he served as a DUG leader in his senior year and wrote a capstone focusing on Paul Virilio's concept of acceleration as it applies to transportation networks within his family's Watan, Palestine. At Brown, he captained the Brown men's club soccer team, tutored for BRIGHT, the Brown Refugee Youth Tutoring and Enrichment Program, and edited for the Brown Journal of World Affairs. After completing his last semester abroad in Granada, Spain, he joined Barclays Bank in New York City as a sales and trading analyst, with time in between dedicated to travel, language learning, and family. His capstone project was titled Accelerating Immobility, Transportation in Palestine Across 100 Years. Please join me in congratulating Jaylem. Our next graduate is Michelle J. Chen. Michelle is a graduating senior from Boston, double concentrating in Middle East Studies and Biology. She tutored for Brown's Refugee Youth Tutoring and Enrichment Program and is involved in art spaces at Brown, such as Color Wheel and Create at Brown. Her studies in Middle East Studies are focused on the Arabic language and culture and religion in the Arab world. After graduation, she will be working as a scientific researcher in the biology field. Her long-term goal is to create spaces for underrepresented and marginalized groups in the STEM field, and her capstone project was titled Modern Sufism and Its Adaptation to Capitalism and Commodification, a study of 19th and 20th century Senegalese Sufi orders. Michelle, come on up and accept your degree. Does Michelle's family want to come up also and take some photos?
Take a picture of you.
And we'll share the kind of the professional photographs with everyone after graduation, of course. Michelle, can I take a photo also? Congratulations. Oh. Congratulations, Michelle. Our next graduate is Isabelle Cox. Izzy is a double concentrator in Middle East Studies and Human Rights and the Refugee Experience in independent concentration, and she'll be accepting her degree from her independent concentration. Izzy is from the Chicago area, and this semester she's studying Arabic literature as a culmination of her 8 semesters of Arabic learning at Brown. She's an active member of the co-ed varsity sailing team, and Izzy's capstone discussed the factors that contributed to Syrian displaced people's ability or inability to exercise agency in their flight from violence. After graduation, she will remain in Rhode Island and pursue nonprofit work. Her capstone project was titled Exploring the Role of Agency in the Movement of Displaced Syrians During the Syrian Civil War. Please join me in congratulating Izzy. Our next graduate is Leila Gaber. Leila is a double concentrator in Middle East Studies and International and Public Affairs on the development track. At Brown, she participated in several student activism groups, such as the Brown Divestment Campaign, which passed through a university board in 2019. She also spent her time writing, singing, and playing guitar for her indie rock band TV Dinner. Clap for TV Dinner, please. She doesn't have plans for after graduation, but she hopes to end up back in her family home in Egypt to study and work in the near future. Her capstone project was titled Beyond the Nile, Nubian Conceptions of Identity After Their Displacement. Does Leila's family want to come up?
One with that is fine. Finish the group right there.
Our next graduate is Joseph Schlechter. Joseph goes deep. Joseph was born and raised in Portland, Oregon. They began studying Arabic at their local public school in 6th grade and continued throughout their high school and college career, culminating in a Bachelor of Arts in Middle East Studies. This love for language learning also inspired them to pursue a second Bachelor of Arts in multilingual education. During their time at Brown, they found most of their joy and respite away from campus, exploring libraries and cafes across the greater Providence area, attending local music events, and working at any one of their multiple jobs. Joseph is excited to take these lessons and experiences with them when they return home after graduation. Their capstone project was titled Boys Love, Translations of Abu Nuwas's Masculine Ghazals. Come on up, Joseph. Joseph, do you want anyone to come up and take photos?
It'll be a long line.
Yeah. We only have the room for We'll now turn to our graduates who will be graduating in the winter of the coming year. So those who are finishing on the 2023.5 schedule. Our next graduate is Zachary Federman. Zachary is a double concentrator in Middle East Studies and Comparative Literature. She has been studying Arabic since her freshman year at Brown and is currently writing a thesis that explores political theories of translation through a multilingual encounter with Rabia Alameddin's An Unnecessary Woman. Zachary enjoys art of all kinds, sees beauty in the passage of time, and deplores the tyranny of positivist thought. Come on up, Zachary.
I know the height thing in front.
Our next graduate is Mara Kessler. Mara is a concentrator in Middle East Studies from the DC area. She joined the Brown Undergraduate Journal of Middle East Studies as an editor during her freshman year and went on to serve as managing editor and most recently co-editor-in-chief. She has also spent her time throughout Brown volunteering as an emergency medical technician for Brown EMS and working for CMES. After spending last semester studying abroad in Jordan, she is excited to return to the country this summer to intern with Arab Reporters for Investigative Journalism and conduct research for her capstone project. Upon graduation in December, she hopes to find work combining her passion for human rights advocacy and interest in the healthcare field. Congratulations, Mara. Oh, yes. All right, and last but certainly not least, our final graduate today is Rita Sajdi. Rita is a double concentrator in Middle East Studies and History from Casablanca, Morocco. She is passionate about queer and feminist organizing in the region, an interest she has pursued through her classes, research with professors, and her Royce Fellowship project to create a collaborative online archive of queer and feminist resistance. This year, she was the co-editor-in-chief of the Brown Undergraduate Journal of Middle East Studies, and she has been working as an immigration advocate with the Student Clinic for Immigrant Justice throughout her time at Brown. After officially graduating from Brown in December, she hopes to attend law school to advocate for her passion for queer and women's rights in the Global South through the law. Come on up, Rita.
Maybe a few.
So that concludes the formal part of the graduation, such as it was. We're now going to have a reception on the 3rd floor in the Kim Koo Library. But feel free to stay and take photos. Please, our graduates, maybe we can have a photo with all of them together. Yeah, thank you. Congratulations.